hunting,
fishing,
cooking,
camping,
conservation,
travel,
gardening,
photography, family.
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 This is the Outdoor Rules Podcast. All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. As promised, we are bringing you this second in a special two-part episode about Caitlin's elk hunt. So the first part came out just a couple of days ago. If you haven't listened to that part yet, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go back and check it out before you listen to this one, because we're just kind of going to pick the story up midweek or mid-hunt. And, you know, we'll really get into the exciting part of this as we go along here, and also then wrap up with some of the lessons that we learned. But this was just such a special hunt. And, you know, we said it in the last episode, but before we get going here, I just have to say that one of the things that is so special to me about this hunt in particular, and this kind of hunting in general, is that, you know, it really takes a community. And I specifically want to mention the whole time that we're out in the woods doing this, and we end up out there for 5 nights and 6 days in the backcountry, never coming back to the truck, much less coming home. That whole time our 2 young sons are being watched by Caitlin's parents, by GT and Necie. And, you know, it's easy to get focused on being there in the woods as the story of the hunt, but really help from GT and Necie and all the other people that support us in so many ways is just as integral to the success of this kind of hunting as anybody else, no matter how close you are, you know, physically to being in the woods. It just, for us, especially with young kids, it really takes a village. It takes a community, and that community and the connectedness to friends and family and the willingness of people to help, it is really so special to me. Special in a way that, you know, an elk or a deer or a game animal never could be. And so I just really want to say thank you to GT and Necie. Thank you to other friends and family that loan us gear, give us advice, help us out, support us in any way. It just means so much. So without further ado, here is the conclusion of Caitlin's big elk hunt for 2025. Hope you enjoy it. There's so many elk, and we're talking about all these elk. But, you know, we're now talking about kind of days and days of being in them, hiking the mountains, you know, trying to, you know, exerting yourselves to get places, and then also trying to be patient, sitting there and just feeling like, man, we just keep making the wrong decisions. We just keep blowing elk out.
It's one of those things that takes me back to turkey hunting. It's like, no matter what decision you make, you've made the wrong decision.
Exactly.
You know,
but
until it works. And it only has to work once.
It only has to work once.
But I mean, I feel like the decision-making part of it is like the beauty of it too, because you feel like in 5 minutes you make so many different decisions, even if you're deciding not to do something.
Right.
And there's, you know, obviously probably some, I don't know, just general good practices with it, but there's also some creativity to it, and as an individual or a group, you get to, you know, impact that. It's kind of fun.
So then, you know, we're into another day, and we kind of do the same thing. We had a little bit of a morning play, right, that didn't work out, and then we were like, well, we'll make our way back up to the Wallow earlier in the morning, but we'll also leave it earlier to get back out, you know, if we don't get one.
Yeah, try and get below the elk coming down.
Yeah.
Instead of, following them.
It turned out that it did seem like there was some magic to that, like, noon to 2 kind of time period at the Wallow. I think, Jeremy, kind of what you were alluding to, which is that midday, those elk want to go water. We ended up seeing 3 bulls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although one of them winded us on the way in, and, we were never anywhere near it. 2 of them actually came into the other water hole that we only finally discovered was there when we left.
Yeah, but they were behind us 30 yards,
right,
40 yards, but through the timber.
We actually went to another wallow that was more out in the burn, that we had been watching elk go to all weekend, particularly in the evening. The wind, I don't know. It was just like, it was just, again, it just was so humbling and so humiliating because we had a bull come down the mountain to us, and he got to 200 yards, and he went to another mud hole, and we watched him wallow and dig his antlers and, do all the things that we were hoping that he would do 25 yards in front of us. But we're like, this is great. He's still going to come down here. There was 2 hours of daylight left or whatever. We had other bulls come in. We had some more bulls coming off the top, and the wind was swirling on us or whatever happened.
And some of them blew out, but some of them lingered. They were just like, they stared at us.
Right.
Or maybe not at us, but looked in our direction and stood there for 15 minutes or something in the same spot, just watching. And then they relaxed, but they didn't come any lower.
I think this is the point in this week where I just thought about it's amazing that anybody ever kills an elk with a bow. Like, we were getting winded at 300 yards.
Yeah.
Like, how does anyone get an elk in archery range?
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
You're surrounded in this place. You're surrounded by elk.
So many things have to go right,
and they're bugling all the time.
Yeah,
and we're not succeeding at calling them in. We're not succeeding at ambushing them. We're not succeeding at stalking them.
Yeah,
it's just like.
So what are you supposed to do?
And
you got to get lucky.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some real low moments in there.
Yep.
There were definitely times where I'm like, I'm going to walk back down to the truck and go home.
Yeah. But this is now Wednesday, and we had always planned on we're going to have to go out on Wednesday to get food.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of made a decision. I mean, Caitlin, you were kind of
done. I needed a break.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd been a lot of days up there, and like you're talking about, I mean, all the frustrations, and I just thought I need a reset.
And you miss the kids.
And I miss the kids.
Yeah, and that's a real thing, and that's okay. I mean, we're not professional hunters. I mean, It's okay to miss the kids. Like you gotta survive emotionally, and it's emotionally draining. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's physically hard and it's emotionally draining to be out there and then, just get that draw. So we decided that day on Wednesday, like we either go out for food or we basically eat scraps tonight and then tomorrow, Thursday, we're done.
Yep.
We'll hunt our way out. And so that's where we arrived, is back in camp Wednesday night.
Eating some oatmeal and salami and cheese.
Yep, it was a nice dinner.
Dinner of champions.
And then what happened after dinner?
Charcuterie.
Yes.
What? No, I
had
think
backcountry charcuterie.
Exactly.
After dinner, I feared for my life. I think it rained like I've never seen rain in my life. I thought I got struck by lightning at least twice.
We thought you got struck by lightning.
It was one of those where, like, one, it was raining so hard that the rain was splashing up under the tent, so I was getting wet in the tent.
Yep.
And, like, the lightning, I was reading on my phone, the lightning would strike, and I'd go blind for, like, 4 seconds. And, like, deaf, and, like, my heart would skip a beat. It was bad.
Man, there was a bolt of lightning that was so ridiculously close. It was scary. Yeah, so we pass a slightly uncomfortable night, Wednesday night, wake up, I don't know, Caitlin, what time we got up, 4:30 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So wake up at 4:30, pack camp, which everything's wet.
And it's still raining.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get into the final morning, why don't you guys talk about, like, the preparation as far as the things you bring for a multi-day backpack hunt?
Yeah.
You talked about tent, talked about food. Like you can't take an unlimited surplus amount of food with
What?
you.
We're moving to water, right?
Yeah.
That's
for
Oh,
a
sure.
very
yeah.
So like,
necessary item.
right, there's kind of three key factors when you're considering a backpack hunt, right? Like you need shelter, you need food, and you need water, right? Like
Yep.
the three principles.
For sure.
And when you're talking about water, you need like a bladder, a filter, and then like a hose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You
sure.
need a hose.
So, in years past, in order for us to get water, it's probably safe enough from the water source we're getting it from to drink it right out of the ground. But you always have that tail of caution, right? Like if you have a water bladder,
Yeah.
if you have a filter, like you're better off just filtering it. And so you have, like, you're thinking about it from multiple perspectives. You want to have a water supply at camp, so when you get back from hunting, you can refuel, rehydrate,
Right.
have enough water to drink, have enough water to use for boiling. And so the water source that we had been getting our water from, would you say I wouldn't say it's declined over the years, but this year was probably the lowest I've seen it in the years that I've been up there.
And there wasn't a big pool, so it like cascades off a little bit of a hill. And last year there was a big pool that you could take like a bag filter or a reservoir of some kind and scoop water out of it. But even then, the problem with that is it's hard to not stir up the bottom, and especially if you got to try to scoop it more than once.
Your filters get dirty.
Right, and you got to be careful about that because in a week you can plug a filter and then you're SOL for water. So
Mike had this.
Brilliant.
I call it brilliant right now. I mean, now it's brilliant. At the time, might have seemed a little crazy. I mean, you brought a hose up.
15.
No. I brought
Oh
it
yeah,
up.
sorry. That's right. I apologize.
This was really where the debate came in.
Caitlin brought a hose up, and it was fashioned into the side of the mountain where we had like a steady stream
Yeah,
of water coming out of it. And it was a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
The flow was so nice that it would take us maybe a minute, maybe a little less, to fill up a 3-liter bag of water.
It was 2 or 3 liters a minute.
And it was great.
And it was literally like all I did was found a little bit of a deep spot at the top of the cascade, stuck the hose in there, put a rock on top of the hose so that it wouldn't move, and then
That was perfect.
15 feet down the mountain, all you had to do was pick up the hose and it would run like a garden hose.
So water with that addition to backcountry elk camp, like it made it really nice. But let's talk about like what goes into food preparation, right? Because you just don't have all the space, nor do you want to carry all the weight of having to take multiple meals for 5, 6, 7 days when you're out there. You really have to ration food, right? You have to kind of know what you're going to take to eat. And for me, I was probably the least prepared out of all of us. When I showed up there on Saturday, I'm like, where's the snack bin? Because I'm a little short in snacks.
Yeah, but I
didn't bring
told
any
you I was
snacks.
going to have a snack bin.
And so I took very few things, but like let's talk about food. I mean, when it comes to breakfast, some people are breakfast eaters, some people aren't. So you can I think you had like a bagel or something.
Yeah.
Those bagels was a multi-purpose
I
item.
really, back in my Yellowstone days, I know it's a little bit of weight to carry and real serious backpackers are rolling their eyes, but bagels are really nice because they're really energy dense and they're much tougher than bread. Like you can't take bread; it just ends up into a smashed wad. But bagels, they're pretty tough, and so you can jam them in a backpack, and they come out looking pretty good.
And so bagels, you have something, maybe half a bagel for breakfast, and then you could obviously use that for lunch. I'm trying to paint the picture here of what it would look like to somebody who's never backpack hunted, right?
Yeah.
So dinner, you're eating freeze-dried meals
Yep.
that require water to boil, and you have to rehydrate it. And to Hunter's point, he said, if you eat it and it's still crunchy, it's not ready yet.
Yeah, we were all trying to time ours.
Yeah, you don't need a time. You just got to take a bite, and if it's crunchy, give it a couple minutes.
But you can never take enough food to be in a calorie surplus
Yeah.
for the amount of calories you're burning
Right.
every single day hiking. So
Right.
No matter
Yeah.
how much food you bring, you're going to be at the end of the day being like, I wish I could have eaten more.
Yeah.
But you don't
That's-
want to carry it.
that's how it goes, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you learn to ration food. You learn to take food that's may not taste as good to you, but it's going to have the calories you need.
Right.
And then you have like these feel good items like vacuum sealed peanut M&Ms.
Oh, yeah.
Like these things that just, even though they're not calorically dense, they make you feel good,
Yeah.
And I, for the longest time, I used to take, when I'm really prepared, I have a gallon Ziploc baggie with all of my food in that bag, and then I pack so many of those gallon Ziploc baggies with all the food for however many days I'm going to be out. And I really try to make it a point to eat all of that food that's in that gallon Ziploc bag. Well, when I was doing it, when I used to do it, I would say not as smart, or depending on how you look at it, I was picking food items that were calorically dense but tasted like chalk, that were
Yeah.
just disgusting, And so by the end of the hunt, I had these bags that were just filled with things that I didn't want to eat.
Right.
And so over time, you learn to like balance that out. You learn to take things that are really good, for you, or have the calories you need, and then these little feel
Make you
good
happy.
items. Yeah, and you kind of spread that out through the day. You kind of snack here and there. Water's obviously a big thing because you take enough water with you to be able to hydrate throughout the day, but maybe a little bit more in case
Yeah.
you kill an elk and you're really having to use it on your way out. But you're rationing. Like
Right.
every day you're out there, it's a ration. It's
Right.
a balance of what's too much and what's too little.
Even in the middle of the day, you get to the middle of the day and you've drank half your water, it's kind of like, oh, shoot. I kind of think of it like a third rule, like by the middle of the day, I've drank half, or I've drank a third of what I've taken water-wise. By the time I get back to camp, I've drank 2/3 of it, and then that last third is we've killed an elk or something else has happened and we needed the water,
And it's everything. It's like food, the water, even like a battery pack.
Right.
A battery pack, extra batteries for your headlamp if you're not
Yep.
using a rechargeable. Like those are all things you have to factor in that you're going to have to take with you, and you're going to have to either carry every day, you make a day pack, or you're just going to need to have at camp. So there's a lot that goes into planning and setting up a backcountry camp, having a little spike camp, if we want to call it, or a base camp where you can then kind of hunt out of. That's extremely nice because it gets you that much closer to where you want to be hunting elk.
Right.
And it may not be as comfortable as going back to a camper or a cabin or home or wherever it may be if you hunt out of elk country every single day. But like, to me, having that sense of uncomfort when it gets you that much more closer to where you want to be every single day.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's worth doing.
It's totally worth it.
I think that too, like having that base camp where it's not quite as comfortable, it makes it easier to get out of bed in the morning. It's like, you know what, I'm warm, but it'd be better in my bed, so we should go out and kill an elk so I can go home.
No, that's a really good point.
There you go. It's inspiration.
So sorry for the segue. I
No.
wanted to talk
No,
about
it's
kind of
good
the
points.
backcountry stuff. So let me reset things here. So Wednesday night, you guys are eating crumbs. You're eating leftovers, backcountry charcuterie.
Yep.
The idea was to hike out the next morning, hunt your way out, come back to town. Were you guys going to come back
Come
to
home.
town?
Come to Santa Fe.
Come home, kind of re-gear,
Yeah.
re-energize. And then for me, I was thinking what would be today, we're going to reassess and get back out there till the end of the hunt. And it didn't exactly work out that way, did it?
Luckily not.
Yeah, so pick it up, Kaylin. What happened?
Yeah, so we leave camp in the rain with all the gear on our backs,
Wet tents and all.
and
I left my rain jacket
Yeah.
and my puffy outside all night. They were really wet.
the cherry on
Sopping
top
wet.
for Hunter was he had no dry rain jacket to put on.
No.
Right.
So I don't know. We kind
You
of
had all that space in the tent.
I know. Well, they were wet because my water bladder leaked, and then I was like, I'll hang them up, and then I got in my tent, and it started raining, and it was an afterthought. Whatever. I woke up in the morning and wrung them out, threw them in the pack.
so right away. I mean, I wouldn't say we've given up hope, but you're getting close, right? It's like, all right. Your mindset is, I'm on my way out. Yeah, we're gonna give a few things a try. You know, we're all soaking wet. Hunter has no rain jacket. It could get kind of cold and miserable, and so then we start down, I guess, and get out to a point, and that we've been to many times and watched elk from multiple directions cross and seen them above that point a lot, but also below and either side, and see elk right away like we usually do, and have to decide which direction to go to start our morning, and figured we'd start above the road a little bit because we'd seen elk come through there the other day, and try to get in a better spot for that where they had passed through, and start walking up the hill. And I was in the back and tripped on something, but with the heavier pack and a little bit of off balance probably in the pack, I lost my balance and it threw me forward. And all I was thinking as I was falling was, oh my gosh, my bow. And I ended up like falling starfish style on top of a rock that was probably like the size of a truck tire. Fortunately, the bow didn't hit the rock.
No.
The bow landed in the nice, soft grass.
My torso hit the rock, and then the bow hit in the grass. I was still holding it. I never let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember feeling like the wind got knocked out of me. It's just like, oh, okay, now this.
And that's when you cracked a rib, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I stood up and said, I think I bruised my heart.
I just turned around and she's face down in the dirt.
Oh, man.
All limbs sprawled out. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Then hunters are paying the favor, like, did Caitlin fall?
Did she fall down?
Did she fall down?
No, she'll be all right.
Just give her some time.
And, it's kind of like you're saying there, Caitlin. I feel like especially at that moment, like in those times when you're heading home, like when I'm not here for the day. I'm here until we get out of the woods, and I'm going home, and we are gonna hunt a little bit or whatever. It's really hard to keep your head in it, right? And your heart or whatever, and then you fall and hurt yourself, and the bow hits the deck, and that creates a little bit of uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep your heart in it when it's bruised.
I can't laugh still.
But the pull of home really gets strong in those moments, I feel like. So we kind of ended up in the meadow or in a burn. I mean, not much happened. We finally do have a bull that seems like he's maybe coming up towards us from lower down, but he seems like he's pretty far off. So we're like, let's move closer. It's actually pretty close to where you guys called that one in that came in from behind. And what'd we do, Hunter? Did we go 50 yards?
Oh, we got up and we're like, we're going to walk this way. And then we walked, 40, 50 yards. And I'm staring at my feet because we're walking over that deadfall, and I looked up and he's running away. I'm like, oh, well, there goes that.
Yep, again. Well, now we blew our last chance.
I'm telling you, we got really good at that.
Yeah.
Blowing elk out.
Right. And so now there's still some elk bugling, and maybe some that are like down below the logging road that are, kind of they're the direction that we're going to go. Right?
Yeah.
And all the way back to the very first morning we were up on that hill looking down, and we watched those elk come up out of the bottom and go into that patch of timber.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, let's just go down there.
Yeah.
Let's go down there, hang out for another half an hour, and all these elk will go by us going up the hill some other direction. and then we'll
Call it.
be done.
Yeah, so we basically follow where we boogered that other bull from. Head downhill, couple 100 yards, if that, get into the timber. And it was really nice. It was well covered, really shaded, lots of old growth pines, but lots of shooting lanes too, really open. And I think we have to credit Hunter with the spot we found to camp out temporarily. And there were still elk bugling above us, and like you said, we could still hear them kind of below us, kind of to our side. It just seemed like they were working up the drainage where there was a chance they could filter right up into our patch. So not feeling like it was over necessarily yet, but yeah, thought we'd camp out for a little while and then hear those bugles eventually pass us and be done. We were maybe there 10 minutes and something, and Mike started getting antsy and trying to talk to the elk again.
Oh, yeah, I did a little cow calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, desperation mode.
Well, there were a ton of elk. Like, you could hear cows in that, like, bowl off to our right, and you could hear elk bugling, and like I said, they kept answering you.
Yeah.
So it gave you some comfort knowing they were there, I guess.
Well,
That works sometimes.
and it seemed like I kind of got up. We were in this kind of deadfall tangle where a couple of trees had fallen down and almost made a 3-sided blind, just a natural one. And there was a spot where there was a log laying against a standing tree, and I got up and sat on that because the ground wasn't very attractive to sit on because it had been raining and everything was wet. And now my underpants that I've been wearing for 6 days are,
Damp.
It's probably a good thing.
It's about time to pull out the
No, that
vacuum.
just made it more stanky.
Anyway, I get up and I'm sitting on that log, and it's like these elk are calling, cow calls and bugles. And every now and then I'm seeing a cow filter through the timber, 150 yards away, headed up the hill. But I'm like, I can hear more elk than I'm seeing. Like, there are elk somewhere in here that I'm not seeing. And I was sitting up on that log, and it was like, oh, shoot, there's a cow walking right at us, like at 80 yards. And I saw her, and she ducked behind a tree, and I sat down. I was like, there's an elk coming right here. Get ready.
Yeah.
And
We had been glassing for 40 minutes.
yeah, we'd been there a little
50
while.
minutes.
Right.
I finally was like, this is a waste of time. Pull my sandwich out. I'm like sitting on this log starting to eat my sandwich, and then Mike's like, there's a cow. And I'm like, okay. So I duck behind the tree, and I'm like crouched, hunched over, ripping little pieces of my sandwich off. I felt like a hobo. Like trying
you
not to
weren't even
move.
facing the elk.
I know,
right?
I'm trying not to move, but I'm like, I can't put this sandwich on the ground. Gotta eat it. But then, yeah, the cow came,
Right.
and then a few more showed up.
And so I don't know what it ended up being. How many, Caitlin?
I don't know. I just remember I was like so tunnel vision straight ahead of me that as soon as stuff filtered away, I just wasn't looking for it anymore. Usually it seemed like there were 4 or 5 cows in view in front of me. And I
Yeah.
know that there were probably some other,
I
you
think
know,
there were
going around
8
to
or
the side.
9.
Yeah,
9 or 10.
I think at the most I counted 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 of which were like at 20 yards for a while.
And I mean, looking at us, a lot of eyeballs, they kind of like an elk does, where they know something doesn't look right, but they're just not all that weary, but then they'll stare at you for 10 minutes without moving. And so those cows came up, and, some of them are just feeding, and a few of them are kind of looking at us, and, it's like, it's hard to be close to elk for a long time without something, going wrong. And we've had a whole week of doing nothing but spooking elk. And so finally, this bull's back there bugling, and finally he pops up over the hill, and it's a 5-point. And I'm like,
Like a dinky little thing.
yeah. I'm like, you can't be serious. Like, all this for that little 5-point. And then I'm like, should I tell Caitlin to shoot a 5-point right now? Because, I think she'll do it.
I think we were at that point where if a bull came in range, it was dying.
Yeah.
Or at least getting wounded.
I don't know. I was pretty let down when that was the bull. And then there was more bugling behind him still, like, oh, wait, there's another bull back there. And I just remember when he stepped up, and, I mean, he stepped up just high enough, basically, that I could see his head and his antlers. I think I said to Caitlin, that's a giant bull. Mm-hmm. And then what, kind of take it from there?
Well, I feel like we saw his head appear behind this Doug fir or something.
Pine tree.
Okay.
A Doug fir could have been a ponderosa.
No, she's a habitat biologist. She knows what it was. I'm just not sure that everybody knows what a Doug fir is. But go
Anyways,
on.
you see his head pop up.
I don't know who Doug fir is.
Behind this
Sounds like
pine
a nice
tree.
guy.
And next thing you see is this head in the pine tree. And he's just thrashing his antlers, rubbing his head on the pine tree. And he went on and did that for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It seemed like forever.
A solid 15 minutes.
Meanwhile, there's 2 or 3 cows straight in front of us, like between us and him, and intermittently feeding and kind of looking at us. But they seemed like they were starting to settle in a little bit.
Right.
They weren't as frozen as the first 10 minutes they were in there.
And those cows, I had ranged them. They were about 40 yards. And so he's probably at 50, right? He's another 10 yards beyond them. And like you're saying, you can't really see him. You can see the pine tree shaking the whole time, and you can hear it because he's making a giant racket. He's not bugling. He never bugled, I don't think, in that whole time. But he's out there going nuts. And what ends up happening is another bull, not the 5-point, but a different small 6-point, comes walking in.
From our left.
Right, from downhill from our left. He comes walking in, and he walks right in between this big bull and his cows.
And us.
And us, yeah. And Hunter and I both kind of talked about it, right? Like, that bull walked in there, and I swear he had a look on his face like, I shouldn't be here. Like, he's going to be mad when he sees me.
It didn't take him long to disappear.
Yeah.
It seemed like he walked behind a tree and never came out the other side.
Right. Because when that bull finally stopped rubbing that tree, the big bull stopped rubbing the tree for long enough, he saw that other bull standing there, and then things started happening.
Yeah, I think one of the cows had made a couple steps toward that second bull, and that bull pretty quickly left, like Hunter said. But then as soon as the cows started kind of slowly moving that direction, the bigger bull followed. And fortunately, that whatever that group composition was, some of them split and went to our right, and I couldn't see them anymore. And he followed 1 or 2 cows to our left.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly it was like, oh, shoot, this is going to happen like right now or never.
Yep.
And I think you got me a range pretty quick as he was walking at 30 yards. And like I said, it was kind of tough to tell when to draw. I'd felt disheartened by my decisions on timing in that earlier in the hunt.
Well, and now you got cows. Like,
now you have cows.
It's almost like now you got elk in a half moon
right
all around you. And so all you can do is look at the bull.
Like we're saying, there's big diameter trees, but also big gaps too. So anyways, I said, Mike, should I draw? And you said, yeah, get drawn. And so I get drawn, and he's doing the thing where he'll take 2 or 3 steps and stop, and take 2 or 3 steps and stop. And you were getting me ranges in between, and like it certainly took me a second to kind of catch my breath and remember my anchor points and feel like I was somewhat steady. And then he stops behind a tree, and then he starts moving again, and I ask you for a range again, and he stayed at 30 the whole time. But then I keep turning left and left and left, and I know I'm getting closer to where Mike is actually sitting because he was directly on my left. And I could feel that it was like, all right, he stops. This is my chance. If he moves anymore, he's gone. Had my anchor point, and I knew it was 30. I don't have a 30-yard pin, so I held my 25 a little bit high.
What are your pins set at again?
Basically...
Yeah, I don't understand how this works.
25, 35, and 45. No, 25, 35, and 42 and a half.
Sorry, Jeremy. You get used to this stuff with Caitlin. Trust me, I asked her if she wanted me to move the pins while she was shooting.
But you don't know how many times, like walking around the mountains in times between we were in between elk encounters, and I'm just like, you're constantly replaying the different scenarios. I'm like, okay, remind myself, right, if he's 30, just hold between your first two pins. And in that moment, my brain couldn't do it. I was just like, which pin? No, okay, just hold 25 high.
Yep.
And so that's what I did, and I shot, and you heard the hit. Mike said, "Oh no," as he does usually.
I also thought, "Oh no."
Those things happen so fast. It's hard to get a good idea on what exactly.
And
happened.
I thought it was a little front and maybe a little low, but what I said "oh no" about was how much of the arrow I could see sticking out of him. And in hindsight, I was obviously totally wrong about that, but I was worried it had hit the shoulder and hadn't penetrated to the vitals.
Sure.
So,
Which you were quickly proven wrong.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into like the gory details of it, but he went 5 to 10 yards and stopped, and you were working on getting another arrow knocked, and Hunter and I were watching him in the binoculars, and it was very clear immediately that it was a mortal wound.
Yeah.
It was very clear that he was going to die. He was well hit. No worries there.
I mean, I couldn't see him. I got my arrow knocked. I think he went a few more steps then. Once I was ready,
yeah,
and then laid down.
He was broadside at 50, and I was going to tell you to shoot him again, even though I was really confident then, but he was standing there in the woods broadside at 50, and it's like, well, I kind of have this rule, like, if an elk's on its feet and you can get another shot in it, well, I don't care if it's a rifle or a muzzleloader or a bow, you do it, because you'd
rather do that than lose it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But by the time you were ready to draw, he had started taking a couple steps downhill.
He only went another 20 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he went 40 or 50 yards from where he was hit. And Hunter said, I lost sight of him, you lost sight of him, and then Hunter said, I see him, he laid down. And I was like, he fell over? He said, no, I think he laid down.
Yeah.
And then took a few more minutes that one of those other small bulls came back. He might have actually poked him. I don't know, like, if they had an interaction, but then he started kicking, and then it was like, okay, we'll get up. Because we had talked about, like, it was 8:30. I actually really remember that now.
Yeah. And you said we're going to sit here till 9.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if we're not 100% sure he's dead, we're going to sit here until 9 before we even get up and go over there. And then we ended up, Hunter said, I see him. I think he tried to get up, and then he said, no, I see his legs kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Then we inched our way down there.
And that was probably only 5-10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Caitlin.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's only got to work once.
I mean, literally, I think that was the first thing you said to me when we walked up on him. Hunter looked at me and said, it's only got to work once. Like, oh, man. And
I can't believe that's the time it worked. Of all the lone bulls we had come into that wallow and all the times we saw elk, like, how did we have 6 or 7 cows at 30 yards for an hour?
And we all swear that the wind hit us in the back of our necks when we were sitting there and all those cows were in front of us. I mean, I remember specifically thinking, like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
We're going to get winded. This is over about halfway through the whole thing, It's like,
I thought it was funny because it was again like the sandwich situation. It's like I saw that I'm watching him thrash that tree, and I'm like, my leg is asleep and it hurts so bad I have to move.
Yeah.
And I like slowly duck my head behind the tree, and I use my hands to move my foot so I'm not like, because I'm like crouched on one leg, and I'm like, I finally get my foot to where I want it, and then I'm hearing stuff moving. I look up and Caitlin's drawing. I'm like, oh, I just spooked all these elk. And then I look up and he's standing there and it's pew.
Yeah.
Like, man, I can't believe that worked.
Yep.
So tell us about the bull, Caitlin.
Oh, he's beautiful. He's heavy, long-tined. I don't know, 6x6. He's an amazing bull.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I'm looking at him right now, and he's every bit of a mature, nice bull that anybody would be more than happy with if they got lucky enough to pack him off a mountain. Much less he was also a really big bull, so a lot of meat in the freezer.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a great job. You guys got after it. I was exciting to see, how the hunt turned out. You guys stayed up on that mountain as long as you literally could until you had no food and decided to come off. So despite all of the interactions you guys had that didn't go your way, like Hunter said, all it takes is once. And what we were talking about earlier was like you have all these different expectations and then all these different ideas on how it could potentially play out, but a lot of times it just doesn't play out the way you think it is going to. And this one, played out in your guys' favor, but to think that you'd get an elk hiking off the mountain, I think you guys were in the right place at the right time. Like as lucky as you may think it was also spending days of knowing what the elk are doing, putting yourself in the best position for success, and you guys still did it on the way out. So, kudos to you all. Great job. And now we get to look at this elk here. I can't wait to do the Euro mount on it.
Oh, man.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
It was a good job.
He's got little bits of tree in his horn still, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we got to keep that.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep.
You got to epoxy those in.
Yeah.
I think definitely in my limited time and experience and whatever you want to call it, elk hunting, I think that's a bull that nobody could pass up. I think we were at a point in the hunt where we maybe would have settled for something smaller, but I don't think we had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't something where it's like, well, I guess I'll shoot this. It's the last day. It was like, I'd have shot this on day 1, hour 1.
Yeah.
You also hinted to it earlier when you guys were talking about walking out of there, which is it's really hard to leave an area as good as that.
Yep.
Right? Like you guys knew walking out of there there was a good chance that you may not go back in there because it's a hard place to get to. Right? And so knowing that you are walking out of what could potentially be the best place with the best opportunity to harvest an elk and not knowing like what the next few days are going to have in store as far as where you're going to go, like that's kind of a tough pill to swallow, because like you're kind of straddling like is the hunt over and right now?
Yeah.
Like when we walk out of here back to the truck, like
even if you're going to be trying more,
exactly. So I think it's a tough one to kind of figure out what you're going to do in the next coming days, but it worked out. It was perfect. I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better. I think you guys, there's a weird feeling you get where if you would have walked in there day 1 and killed an elk, like everyone here would be happy,
Yeah.
But like putting the time in and spending the 6 days, almost getting struck by lightning, blowing elk out, like it all plays into the story, right?
Yeah.
And it's quite the story versus a story where it could have been very different by you walking in there and killing an elk first hour of opening light or first light, and then that was it.
Right.
This podcast would have been 15 minutes instead of 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah. Again, I go back to how humbling this hunt was for me. Even compared to last year, I mean, we got a lot more opportunities per time in the woods, and this, it really is, it's the best place I've ever elk hunted. Maybe I'm wrong, but Caitlin said at the beginning, I got to think it's got to be in the top 10 elk hunts in the country. It is so good, and yet and you just see so many elk on this hunt, but it's still hard to get one. It is not an easy thing to do, to go out and kill an elk with a bow. It's just, it's a challenge, and it's a mental challenge as much or maybe more than a physical challenge. And I think, this one, Hunter and I talked about it. I was sitting there for those 30 or 40 minutes before those elk showed up when we were sitting in that blind. I thought 10 times while we were there, just get up. Let's just go. We've done this. We've been close to elk all week. It's not going to work out. Just get out of here. Give up. We'll hook up with Jeremy for the weekend. We'll come back. We'll get out a little bit more. We'll try somewhere different. See some fresh ground, whatever. Maybe get Robert out with you two, and I'd watch Emmett something. But you just sit there, and sometimes it's the perseverance. And it was on all our parts. Nobody gave up, but it's the perseverance to sit there for 5 more minutes sometimes. That's all the difference between going home empty-handed and being there for the one time it works, right?
It's one of those things, and like I was saying earlier, when you sit down and think about when you're in those low points, how many things have to go right?
Yeah.
It almost seems impossible. You're all dependent on wind, on weather, on your equipment, on the elk.
Right.
We go through those days at the Wallow where we had 5 bulls come in, and it's like, well, this didn't work. And this is these were perfect opportunities. How did this not pan out? And it's like, why are we even here?
Right.
But then you sit another 15 minutes, and oh, here comes a cow.
Yeah.
And then you sit another 15 minutes. Oh, here comes a bull. And then you sit another 15 minutes, and he's dead.
Right.
So
you just got to go into it without a expectation.
Soon as
when it happens, it happens.
As soon as you lose all hope.
Yeah.
That's when it happens.
You got to lose all hope
you got to sit
all
there
but a
thinking,
little bit, because if we didn't have a little bit, we would have been off the mountain.
Yeah.
An hour earlier.
You got to go into it with the expectation of we're not going to kill anything.
Yeah.
And this is going to be an experience.
Right. So, of course, the first text message I got out, which was very limited service up there, but I got a text message out to Jeremy. Caitlin just shot. And he's like, good hit. I'm like, yes. Big bull. Yes. And so finally, after we got down there and got to him, I was able to get you on the phone. And I said, man, can you come help us, get this thing, pack this thing out of here?
Well, before that, you said, send help. And my response was, send a picture, because I only provide my services to helping to pack out an elk if it's a big elk.
I forgot about that. You said I only pack big bulls. And so I finally got you on the phone. I'm like, man, because you were still a little coy by text message. You hadn't actually sent me a message like I'm coming.
No,
and then
I was kind of letting the suspense build a little bit.
And then I got you on the phone, and you said, man, I'm lacing my boots. I'm on the way out the door.
I already had my stuff in the truck, ready to go. When friends call in a situation like that, you show up.
And, I come back to that, the community of hunting, and I think it's, in this case, with Western big game hunting, it just takes a village. And we would have gotten the bull off the mountain without you, but God, you were such a savior in so many ways.
I'm so glad you were there.
Yeah. No kidding. Really.
We've all been in those situations, so we know how valuable having those friendships are for people to show up and help in a situation like that. And it was, when you told me she had killed the bull, I had already started packing stuff up. I was ready to go. The answer for me to get up there, I wish I could have been up there faster. I wish I could have been up there for the whole entire thing. That's just, in hindsight, you always wish that. But I was more than happy and excited to get up there and go pack that elk out, because one, we've done it enough to know on day 6 of getting after it every single day. your batteries aren't fully charged. You know, like everyone's tired, everyone's mentally, physically exhausted, and so even one person who can, you know, spread the weight a little evenly, a little easier, it's just that much helpful. And you know, I brought you all some breakfast burritos because
man.
I know
Best burrito
I
ever.
could not believe it when you pulled those breakfast burritos out of your pack. I was like, the man is a saint.
well,
Same
like I
today.
said, we have all been there, you know. So I put myself in your guys' shoes and just was thinking, like, how nice would it be to have an actual real meal?
How nice was it, Hunter?
I mean,
It was one of those, like, we talked to him on the phone, and we were like, no, you don't need to bring food. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not hungry. And he pulled that breakfast burrito out of his pack, and I'm like, oh, my God, I could eat 5 of these.
well, if I had known you
I
guys were
think
eating,
I would have died.
if I had known you guys were eating backcountry charcuterie, I probably would have brought you all 2 burritos each.
Yeah, well, Mike was shorting me on the salami all week.
We really did ration that one pretty well.
He was just cutting them in half and putting them around the exterior of the bagel.
Like a
to
gas
look like it
station
was
sandwich
a whole
where you-
piece.
All the meat sticking out the front, the only part you can see.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, burritos got there. They were
Yep.
still warm. Brought you all some water because you were running low on that because you not by choice. Well, by choice because you were hiking out and didn't want to carry the weight, which was a good idea.
Well, that wasn't exactly what happened.
Oh yeah,
Hunter
that's
also
right.
That was a little bit of it.
There was a broken hydration bladder
That's
tube.
right.
that
Mike turned
spilled.
into a fountain.
I was leaking.
But packing that bull out, I mean, you guys quartered it. You got all the loose meat in another bag, and so, you know, I think in those situations, I'm always thinking about like how do you do the hardest, most difficult part first, and then how do you make it easier over time?
Right.
And so, considering where the bull was at, you know, the first idea we had was like let's shuttle loads. So instead of rather taking a load all the way from, you know, where you guys quartered the bull down to the truck, like let's just shorten the distance in half and let's just shuttle loads, you know, halfway, get the heaviest part and the most difficult part
Big
done with
steep part.
first. And it's going to be difficult, but the hard part's behind us. All the weight is now going to be, you know, half the distance closer to the truck. The trip from where it's at to the truck is theoretically easier, and you don't have to worry about going all the way back up there because taking a heavy load back to the truck and then thinking to yourself like, oh, now I got to turn around and walk all the way up that steep stuff again and get back to the, you know, to the meat and then bring it back down.
Yeah.
There's nothing appealing about that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's, you know, if you've never done this, I mean, it's essentially 6 heavy loads. I mean, the way we do it, it's 4 quarters, 2 hind quarters, 2 front shoulders, and then another big bag that's got neck meat and back straps and loins and all the other, you know, extra stuff that you have. And then the head and horns is a, you know, substantial load. And we skinned it all the way out. We didn't pack the skin out for this one. And I mean, skinned the head off and everything, but it's still like,
Still a lot.
that's a load.
Yeah, but don't forget, you guys also had all of your gear for the last 6 days with you.
Right.
So you guys just weren't walking off the mountain with empty backpacks.
Right.
I mean, you still have to figure out how to get all of your gear, tents, sleeping bags, whatever trash, whatever it is that you packed in out with you, and then meat as well.
Yeah.
That was a point where I was very glad that you guys were there, especially Jeremy, because I was like, if there was nobody in front of me, I would not have made it down that hill. That first load, which I had loaded wrong, and I had so much weight so far off my back that I was, to even myself out to where I wouldn't fall over, I was like at a 45-degree angle. Well,
Yeah.
I guess like 135-degree angle, where like I was leaning over,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
The second load was easy because I loaded it right, but that first load was like every step was a struggle.
But
And
it
if
was,
you weren't keeping my pace, it would have took me so long to get down.
you had it more well loaded, but you also didn't have all the camp gear.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I probably had 20, 30 pounds of camping gear.
Yeah, so it ended up really working out well because we all went down probably 2/3 of the way down the really steep part of the downhill, which I know it sounds easy going downhill, but man,
It's worse.
it with a
I'd
bunch of
rather
weight on
go
your
up.
back.
Worse.
Yeah,
Easier to roll an ankle.
Oh,
Easier
yeah.
to injure yourself. There's a lot of things that could go wrong when you have a lot of weight and you're balancing, trying to go over, blow down, trying
Yeah.
to stay on a rocky trail.
And that's the big thing. It's like, it sounds easy to go downhill, but at least the way I was walking, the way my pack was loaded, I couldn't straighten my legs out. So you're basically holding a squat the whole time.
yeah.
And like my knees felt weak, my ankles felt weak, like my hips hurt because you got all that weight on your hip straps. Like, it was bad.
Well, we made it, and then Hunter and I ended up taking meat all the way to the truck. You and Caitlin dropped the quarters that you had and everything else in your packs and went back up to the elk, got the last 2 loads in the amount of time it took you guys to do that. Hunter and I were able to get to the truck, unload, turn around, get back to where you had dropped those other quarters, and we basically just got them loaded in our packs when you guys showed up and took a quick break. I mean, I think we got the bull, let's say at 9 o'clock, we walked up to him or whatever, sometime between 8:30 and 9, and we were back at the truck at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's, it wasn't, not like it was real far, but it's still a lot of work, and
Yeah.
I think that's as good as anybody could hope for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got him out of there cooling down pretty
No,
quick.
Jeremy, we got him out of there.
It went smooth.
Yeah.
The fact that we got out before the rain started.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You had
That was
enough
the other
time to
thing.
get-
We're racing some weather again.
Oh, it was perfect.
I think
I
Oh, sorry.
was gonna say I wouldn't have minded a little sprinkle as we were walking
Oh,
down
yeah.
that mountain. It was so
Yeah.
hot,
It was warm.
but it was nice.
I think my favorite part of all of that is that second load coming back down. And I left before you guys because I was being slow. I'm like, you guys will catch up to me, whatever. But I got back to the truck before you, and like a gaggle of kindergartners started filing out of a van, and they're all staring at me, and I got a big old bag of meat, and there's a dead skull in the back of the truck, and I'm like, oh god.
I was telling Caitlin, half of those kids are going to grow up to pursue a career in natural resource management. The other half are going to...
Yeah. Animal welfare, PETA.
Scarred for life.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Hunter, as your first elk hunt, first real, big Western big game hunt, best and worst or most surprising?
I would say, best, obviously, when we killed the bull finally. I think that was the high point. I think worst is definitely that first day at the Wallow, because it was like really our first real chance, like shooter bull in range, and it just didn't work out 4 times in a row.
It happened like 3 times
in like
20
half
minutes.
an hour. And then I was sitting there and I was sort of like, this just sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think anything really surprised me. I mean, the amount of effort, the amount of walking. I mean, like, I do that stuff for work fairly often. I knew it's a lot of work, a lot of effort. I guess what surprised me there is just the amount of elk. I saw more elk last week, this past week, than I've seen in my entire life. And definitely more shooter bulls than I've seen in my entire life.
It was fun for me to watch you sort of go through all the emotions because I saw them all. I saw the frustration, the anger, the like, F this, I don't ever want to do this again. And all the stuff that I think I feel in the same way, but it maybe is just more muted, longer arc of experience, kind of that, like, I mean, I don't know, just that I do have that confidence of it's only got to work out one time. Like,
and I don't think I was like complaining.
No. I just mean, but then to see you high too, to see you like having fun and the bulls are reacting and things are going on and we're getting close or whatever. I mean, I think it was Wednesday night, right, Caitlin? We got back to camp and we were like, how you doing? And Hunter was like, I'm invigorated.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I was ready to walk 10 more miles.
I know.
I was spiritually as high as I've ever been.
There you go. That's what you said.
Yep.
Like John Denver in a
Then
Rocky
I got up
Mountain
in the
High.
morning and my rain jacket was wet, and I was like, "Screw this, take me home."
Oh. Well, Caitlin, 2 weeks ago on the podcast, you said that your goal was to try to get one bigger than last year.
Yeah.
And by the way, your official paperwork acknowledging the entry into the Pope and Young record book showed up on Friday before we left for the hunt.
Yeah.
So
It felt fortuitous at the time.
you've done. I know you've put a tape to this bull just a little bit, and these scores don't mean anything to me, but they are a way to quantify an elk. What do you think? Did you accomplish it?
I did.
Yeah.
Yep. He's bigger than last year's bull.
Could you put a number on it?
No, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
What was last year's?
318 was the gross.
Yeah.
So
I think this one's at least 10 inches bigger than that.
yeah, I think so.
It's a beautiful bull, and I will say it's got some of the most impressive third points I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're wide.
What's the one on the right side of the antler? How long did you measure that third point at, Caitlin?
19.
Yep.
19-inch third point. It's a giant bull. It's a beautiful bull.
And you know what?
Yes.
I've never seen an elk bash a tree like this one did.
He loved.
He died doing what he loved.
Yeah, he really did.
You give him a couple weeks, he was going to be all busted up and probably wasn't going to be looking the same.
Yeah.
What's funny is you had said he was big, but I honestly didn't even remember you saying that. We watched him for so long.
Yeah.
And I never looked at his antlers. I mean, I saw him thrashing there, but I never, tried to look at them through a scoring lens. I was just
Right.
that's a mature bull.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was one of the things that was surprising to me. It's like every single bull we saw until maybe like the last day or two, I was like, "That's a giant."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's a nice bull," and then you look at it and be like, "That thing's tiny." And then I started to get it, but I don't think I really saw a bull all week that anyone in any other unit wouldn't have been like, "That's a nice bull."
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, this is just, I don't know.
I think, to your point, Hunter, in any other unit, Caitlin and all of us would have settled for any one of those elk that we saw.
yeah.
But with the tag that Caitlin had, I think it's worth spending the time knowing what runs around there
Oh yeah.
to
Yeah.
actually, put in the work and try to get something. Try to get something of trophy quality.
Yeah.
Trophy is such a subjective term because trophy to people is defined very differently depending on who you're asking. But I think in that hunt, there are big elk. You saw them, we all saw them, and so it's absolutely, I think, respectable for somebody to go in there and spend the time to find a big elk.
Yeah.
Elk die old there. They die
Yeah.
of old age.
Right.
Yeah, and whether your goal is to shoot a giant trophy or fill the freezer, either way, I think it's worth waiting to shoot a big one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
super glad Caitlin shot this amazing looking bull, but I also would have been happy if she shot a spike opening day not far from the
It would
truck.
have made it easier. Yeah, that would have made
Not
it
at the
easier to
Wallow.
carry out.
So for next time, I mean,
Well,
you can keep breaking your own records or just,
Yeah.
kill a
You can
little
just
spike.
settle
some-
for mediocre.
I think
this one was so
think
big, we're probably
listen,
set on meat for a little while.
next year when you draw the hunt, I think your goal should be to shoot the smallest bull you can find.
Yeah, and it'd probably
Yeah.
still be a 300.
I don't think I
elk.
saw a spike.
I
Yeah.
did. I saw
Did
a
you?
couple.
one or two
Yep.
maybe. No, I don't
It
know.
doesn't have to be a spike. I mean, it can be a hard-horned little tiny raghorn.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge next.
You need a little cute one, so when you hang that on the wall, you can put one inside of his antlers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, all these giant elk are really starting
there's
to take
there's
up a
not
lot
enough
of wall
space.
space.
You
Yeah.
need something to fill in the blank spots.
That's true.
Well, I'm sure excited to pack out your elk next year.
Well, we ate a little bit of this one tonight, and I would say he's quite delicious.
Yeah?
Best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very good lots of meat. It was a huge bodied elk too. Even it was just a giant bull and just a special thing. So
this is by far the best elk hunt I've ever been on.
A ringing endorsement. I hope, you know what, Hunter? Here's my hope for you. I hope it's not the best elk hunt you ever go on.
Me too.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll have a tag at some point.
I hope so too. Well, Hunter, thanks so much for coming down.
Yep.
It was meaningful to spend the time together, and I really appreciate the help.
For
Yep.
sure.
Anytime. I'll drive the 13 hours whenever you need.
Right. Jeremy, I can't. It's just hard to thank you enough from beginning to end.
You don't
on
need
this.
to. My pleasure.
Your counsel and your friendship mean so much. So,
Likewise.
Thanks.
Likewise. My pleasure. Let's
Caitlin?
do it again.
Yeah. Thanks for drawing a tag, Caitlin.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for giving us all something to do.
yeah, and thank you for shooting well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Oh yeah. By the way, she got a new bow.
She did get a new bow.
For the listeners
yeah.
out there that
Yeah.
go back a year from now,
Exactly.
we
Probably
talked
like
a lot
two of 'em.
about we talked a lot about breaking her bow
Yep.
and somehow making it disappear. And I think I don't want. It wasn't the bow that killed this bull. But
It didn't hurt.
I'd like to think the new bow had something to do with it.
Maybe especially after I fell with it.
I think that old bow you would have felt would have just shattered into pieces.
Yeah.
The sight certainly could have.
Right.
Yeah.
Between the new bow and that water hose, I mean,
That
Yep.
made the whole trip.
Yeah.
Like I said, without the bow, we still would have lived. Without the water hose,
Exactly.
we could have died.
we could have. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This has been quite the adventure. So check out the photos of Caitlin's bull. They'll be up on our social, and we'll have some on the website there at www.outdoorrules.com. As always, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, outdoorrules@gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram at outdoorrules. So thanks everybody. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Hunting and fishing, the great outdoors, mixing history, laughter, love, and folklore, creating memories with family and friends. These are the trophies that matter in the end. Outdoor rules.